Hello, everyone. It is Darren and Josh Make a Movie. So to remind everyone, we're off right now. We're going to be relaunching on January 6th. Bigger, better, cooler. It's going to sound better with some very special guests. So these are just these quick things that we're putting up in the interim, just so you don't miss us too much. And we got to keep the algorithm alive. So we have to keep coming up. Speaking of the algorithm, pause what you're doing right now. We're actually going to give you a pause. Look down here somewhere. Hit the like, subscribe, and just leave a comment. Least favorite Christmas song down below. I want to know your least favorite Christmas song. Before we get into our little mini episode here, we posed a question last week out on Instagram. And if you're not following our Instagram, that's where we interact the most. So please go there. And one of the things we're going to do during the holiday season is give away a lot of stuff. We keep talking about that, but we're starting today. So if we're going to call your name out right now, you have won a prize. We're going to email you. So just make sure to check your instant messages in Instagram. And we posed the question of if you could kill one horror franchise, what would it and why?
Yeah.
Two people that we've picked out. All right. The first one is Todd Robbins. Todd Robbins. So Todd Robbins is fascinating. He's an insanely talented magician. He's also very opinionated, and he might have commented like 75 times to bring your post about cleaning a car.
He did. He posted, he got you up to 200. So that.
Are you excited about bringing your toothbrush out? Josh is going to clean a car with his toothbrush.
I'm actually going to use my real toothbrush too.
So Todd Robbins picked The Conjuring. And the second person is Larry Myers, who picked The
Strangers. So those are the two.
Those are the two
that were called out.
Now, we told you in the post, don't be a bitch, because you need to come on and explain why you've chosen those. I'm giving each of you 60 seconds. So Todd, you have 60 seconds to record yourself, and Larry, you have 60 seconds to record yourself, and they will air next weekend. But, and this is the important but, we are going to put your social media handle to make everyone respond back to you about why you're a fucking idiot or why they agree with you.
I have to say, Todd, that The Conjuring is one of my favorite franchises. So I'm really interested to see why you chose that.
I'm going to guess because Todd is very tied into the world of the occult and the esoteric. Right. I have a feeling he probably has some sort of connection to the Warrens, which he seems to have connections to everybody.
Love it.
But I'm excited to hear what that.
Yeah.
So Todd and Larry, you have a few days to record your video and give it out to us. I think we should give them a signed copy of Good Luck Chuck.
Done. Love it.
Done. So a signed copy of Good Luck Chuck.
Do you usually have this as your screensaver?
This is my screensaver. It's Good Luck Chuck.
All right, good.
You know what? Here. You know what? Josh, talk to the camera for 1 second. Well, I'm just going to make a little thing here. So Todd, entertain everyone.
There are going to be two things we're going to do today. We're going to break down a kill scene from one of my movies, and we're going to talk through that. But first, I wanted to kind of press you on your film falling apart this week.
Fuck, dude. Why you got to bring up some fucking bullshit?
But no, I think it's an important because this was something that we've been talking about for a while. This was something that you were supposed to be heading off to direct in a couple of weeks. There we go. Thank you.
11/11/11.
So what happened?
Yeah, so for those that are not following along with the Instagram, I posted something that I had not intended on posting, but I didn't realize what you were going to post. So Josh and I don't talk a lot about what's going to happen. It just happens.
We don't really like each other, so we don't.
This is AI. We're not together right now. We've composited this. Josh posted a thing on Instagram about his rejection letters. We're going to put that up right now. In fact, we're going to pause for 1 second and we're going to play you what Josh posted on Instagram.
Hey everybody, it's Josh from Darren and Josh Make a Movie. I'm here to give you a little 60-second pep talk. We get a lot of DMs and emails about how difficult it is to break into the industry, how to find an agent, how to get your script read by a production company. And I'm here to tell you there's no easy way. Failure is going to be something that you're just going to need to embrace. These are all rejection letters. William Morris, ICM, CAA, the Gersh Agency, Metropolitan, Premier Artist Agency, they're all rejection letters. You cannot move forward without getting rejected. And just to kind of show you, ICM rejected, that was my first agency. Writers and Artists, rejected, that was my second agency. United Talent Agency, rejected, that was my third agency, and that's where I am right now. Don't worry about getting rejected. Just keep pushing through and you're going to be great. Take care.
First off, I can't believe you saved all of those. It's kind of gangster.
I saved, I have literally 300 of them that I saved. Because when I first tried to get an agent, I sent out 860 query letters. So I got a lot of rejection letters back.
So that kind of inspired. So I've been mentioning on the podcast that I have been developing a movie now, probably since April, May, June, July, it's about April. And I have a thing now that I'm at the age in my career and the responsibilities I have as a parent, as a husband, that I don't really develop movies unless it's my own movie, unless it's something Josh and I are working on or someone I know. If someone comes to me with a project, I know the way that Hollywood works, and I know that it could take years and years to get a project off the ground. You have to go through the foreign sales market. You got to attach cast, and then you finally do attach a cast, and then they do a shitty movie, and then they no longer have value. And I know that game, and I don't. If I'm going to spend the time in that game, it's got to be something that either I have created or someone that I know have created.
Yeah.
So I got offered a movie, and I was very just blunt, and I said, "Listen, I think the script's really cool. I like it, but I don't really have desire to, spend this time focusing on this movie if there's not financing attached."
Right.
And they said all the right things, and they showed proof of funds, and they had this financing attached to it.
Yeah.
And so it kind of, I get very, what's it called, like singular visions when I'm working on something. And that's, that's all I can think about.
Yeah.
So for the last 4 or so months, I've done nothing but this movie. I've been working on concept art. I've done numerous rewrites on it with the original writer, including reaching out to actor friends of mine that I've, pulled
to soft sell.
To use the and not even soft sell. We got them attached. Like the agents got contracts. And there was always this thing about when we were leaving. And I have another movie that I am supposed to go do. We'll see if it happens. And I had a little window that if this thing kept pushing, I wouldn't be able to do it. So we kind of really were it has to go between these 4 months. So it just kept stalling and stalling. And finally I called my agents up and I said, "Listen, I'm terrified. I'm not working on anything but this movie right now.
Yeah.
They have to give us a date."
Yeah.
And they gave us the date of December 2nd. And they said that our funding comes through on December 2nd. That's when it's called a cash drawdown. A cash drawdown is basically you have a calendar with the financiers that says when you can actually start pulling money. So it was December 2nd. So they were supposed to escrow the money on December 2nd, and I was on a plane on the 5th. And up to this point, like I was talking to them daily. It was gung ho. It was, "This is when you're leaving." I sat down with my kids. I was like, "Henry, I'm going to miss your birthday by 2 days, but I'll come back 2 days later. I'll be home for Christmas." And it's mental gymnastics, kind of going through that and planning to leave.
Yeah.
And then on the 2nd, which was the day that the cash drawdown was to come, I didn't hear anything. The next day I sent an email and I said, "Listen, this was the date. I need some sort of information." Still heard nothing.
Right.
And then I get the phone call from the managers and agents that the movie was indefinitely put on pause because of what's known as force majeure. Force majeure is a term in contracts which means like an act of God. I'm not going to get into the specifics legality-wise of what shut the film down, but there was a 90-day push on the movie. What kills me is that I did put all of my eggs in that basket. I had an opportunity to go do I'm working with a friend of mine who financed Mother's Day, a guy named Kurt Leopardo, who's the most interesting, hilarious dude. And he started a streaming service, and I've been a consultant with them going. So every time I'm kind of down and not working, I go there and I consult with them. I turned down this month of December and January's work where I could have been doing this. And so they did what they do is they hired another director to go there. And so now it's the holidays. Everyone shuts down through December and January. So, it's devastating. And I think financially, like I have always been in this feast or famine kind of thing financially. I live well outside of our means. But the financial thing I can deal with. I think that for me, that's not the issue. It's the perception is what it is. I keep saying I want to have our wives back on here, but I kind of don't because she terrifies me. And like if you really, we're going to pause. I got the phone call of this thing falling apart, and I happened to be sitting in front of my computer. And immediately when I hung up the phone, I hit record, and I recorded in real time reaction to it actually happening. And I'm gonna play that right now, and then we'll kind of talk about the aftermath of that. Hey everyone, it's your boy Darren from Darren and Josh Make a Movie. So I had no intention of posting what I'm about to post until I saw Josh's post on Instagram tonight. Most of what we do is rejection. It is being rejected. If you look at Josh's post, he shows all of the rejection letters that he's received. And those don't stop. I mean, even now, after 18 or however many films, they continue frequently. I show it to you to kind of pull back the curtain of what being a working filmmaker is like. You know, rejection is not the end. It's in some respects the beginning, because I use that to fuel the next thing that I'm doing. Saw 2 was born out of my desperation, the desperate. I was at a place so dark that it inspired art, and I think the best art comes from that. And so while you're going to see a rejection in the next slide over, I look forward to having it fuel what's going to happen next. I've been working on a movie now for the better part of 4.5, 5 months, around the clock, massive, numerous screenwriting, script rewrites, casting director meetings, talking to actors on the phone for hours at a time, and I was supposed to leave in 4 days. Just received the phone call, and the movie fell apart. It's a feeling that's almost impossible to explain. It's because when you work on a project for this long, and by the way, in retrospect, in movie making, 4 months, 5 months is not that long, but for me, it has been. It's devastating. I gotta tell my wife. I'm telling the podcast first, and then I gotta tell my wife. And it's worse than a blow. You know, oh, there's Darren again, not leaving, another movie falling apart. It's devastating. So often you only see the good parts of Hollywood. You see the red carpet premieres, you see the pictures of, you know, hanging out on sets, but what we don't see are the moments where you're alone in your office, trying to work up the courage of what to say to those closest to you, and figure out, how am I going to pay for mortgage next month? You know, what am I going to do? That is the Hollywood that I know, more so than the Saw universe or any of that. So I just told my wife. I think she takes it as well, I guess, as you could take it. When I was a kid growing up, I never realized, like, I don't know, the comfort that I had in my life, because my dad never, at least outwardly, showed financial troubles. There was no worrying about where the next dollar was going to come from. And I wonder, you know, in this household, with my family, with my kids, with my wife, how they're going to grow up remembering me. Like these constant things where, like, hey, Daddy's leaving tomorrow, and then Daddy's here the next day. What happened to your movie, Dad? It's maybe if I didn't have this podcast, I wouldn't be recording this right now, because this isn't that new to me. This happens, you know, for decades. But realizing that Josh and I wanted to get a little more personal, I thought, what's more personal than a real-time look at a movie falling apart? All right. So, to me, it's always, and this is something that I should get over, but it's that perception thing of my wife, my kids, our family, who kind of feel like I'm a deadbeat. And I think that it's serious. I mean, like,
they don't. It's just
you
frustrating
you saw Laura's face. Well, Josh came in, and Laura just, like, death glared. She death glared, and he goes, "How you doing, Laura?" And she goes, "Fabulous," and then left, or something like that.
I think you are too close to things.
Okay, but yeah. I had to call Laura in and explain to her that the movie wasn't happening, and she sat there in silence for like 20 seconds. I think she was thinking of every way that she would Saw kill me, like what trap she would put me in. And she goes, I understand. And then she stood up and walked out of the room. And I sat here in silence for like a few minutes afterwards. And I realized, I know that the first person she was calling was her mom. And she was going to be like, Darren lost the movie again. And I already, for whatever reason, I get really antsy around her parents because I think they think I'm a failure. Her father is a very famous character actor. We've talked about him on the podcast, Harold J. Stone. So they grew up around Hollywood. But I think that for the family associated with it, it feels like they don't really celebrate the podcast or the movie I go do, but they hear a lot about the movies I don't go do or the movies that fall apart. And so in that day that followed, it was just knowing that every time she walked out on the phone, she was telling a friend or her parents. And to me, that's the hardest part of it. And it was the next thing was when my kids came home, they thought I was leaving the next day. So they're, they're getting ready to say goodbye to me. And I'm like, no, daddy's going to be here. And they were excited.
Yay!
They were excited.
Yeah, of course.
But then you have to explain to them like, that's, it's a shitty thing. So the point of all of this is rejection in Hollywood. It is something that you learn to live with. It is something that you have to grow a thick skin or you die. And I've said this a lot. I used to do these road shows on the Devil's Carnival and Repo, and I talked about this, is that I am a failure. In my career, I am a 100% bona fide failure. And I'm not talking about 11, 11, 11. But I fail 99% more than I succeed. But those successes are what people know. They are, hand me these things over there, the DVDs right there.
Yeah.
I just got these sent to me by Lionsgate. They sent a bunch of the... It is the, by the way, these are cool steel books that just came out. Saw 2, Saw 3, and Saw 4. You know what? Right now, pause, go to the comments section. Name your favorite Saw trap of the one I directed. Randomly going to pick one, and I'm going to sign a set for you of the Saw Blu-ray 4K. Favorite trap of I directed. If you give me a Saw trap that Josh did, I'm going to fucking lose my shit.
Love.
Okay. But... for every one of these that are made, there is infinitely more movies that happen like last week that fall apart.
Yeah.
No one hears about this because most times people don't like talking about them because it's embarrassing. It is an embarrassing thing. But that is the reality of being in Hollywood. And I say this because I went to film school, a place called Full Sail. And I think there was like 40 kids in my class. And the class was, you went for like 15 months. You were always together. I was not the most talented person in my group. I probably wasn't even in the top 10 most talented people in my group, but I could handle being kicked in the balls again and again and again. And I think that so many of these filmmakers that I went to school with, they were extremely artistic and amazing, and they got kicked in the balls a couple times. They're like, my dick hurts, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I think that with me, I have such a small penis that it was, I'm joking, that's probably gonna be, I was kicked again and again and again, and I kept getting back up. And it was that 100th time getting kicked in the balls that became The Desperate, which became Saw 2.
Yeah.
So I think that it wasn't talent that put me where I am. Talent has something to do with it. You have to stay there with the talent. But it was the perseverance of getting back up once you've been kicked down. And I will say, I'm going to get emotional for a second. Saw 2 came about with my script, The Desperate. I'm not going to bore you with the story. Everyone knows that story. But it came with the darkest and hardest time in my life where I was penniless. I was living on couches. And I've talked about this before, but this is such a thing for me that always hangs above my desk. This letter from my father, who this letter came on April 21st, 2003. And I'm going to read you just the last paragraph. It says, "You have been in California long enough that you should be making progress towards your goals in life. We want to support you, but you have to take charge of your own life and make things happen. Do you have a plan, or are you just dreaming that someday you're going to make it big? We are afraid that one morning you'll wake up and discover that you are 30, still living in that same apartment, still working that same job that does not pay quite enough to cover your basic living expenses, not able to afford a family of your own, still waiting to sell that script. Mark November 1st on your calendar. On that day, if you've not sold your script, if you do not have money in the bank, what will your plan be? Take care of yourself. Your mom and I love you, and we're always here for you. Love, Dad." Now, this letter was sent to me on April 21st, 2003. My dad said, "Mark, a year from now, which is November 1st, I sold The Desperate 11 months, 2 weeks after this letter came." So The Desperate got put together in October of the next year, which was right before the November 1st deadline. And it was the desperation of this letter and realizing that my father sent this letter that created what would become my tenure in the Saw franchise. And so I look at this movie falling apart as another opportunity to pick up the pieces and recreate something to become the next thing that will be the next origin story of that thing.
Yeah.
So that is my diatribe on losing the movie or having it fall apart. Is it sucks, but it's the reality of being a working filmmaker in Hollywood.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I mean, it just sucks. There's nothing to say. It's just sucks, but the next one's coming up, as they always do. Yeah.
So now that we brought it down, let's bring it back up. And
let's talk about kills.
So Josh and I both come from the horror world, unless good luck Chuck. Well, that in some circles that is a horror that is a horror film. I love my favorite thing with my son now is we watch movies and we watch the behind the scenes after the fact. And I think that I've been able to go through with my son how certain things are done that he looks at it, and for a child they see magic. They're like, how did that happen? That's not possible. And then you break it down after the fact.
Yeah.
I love watching a good horror film and seeing a kill where I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to start a series over the next few weeks of breaking down some of our kills. And we're going to start with Josh. So Josh, take over and let's talk about...
first thing, let's watch the 30-second clip.
Caleb?
Abby isn't here.
So look, we're going to start by just saying when you're coming up with a gag like this, you need a good kill prop. And what I loved about this was the little circular pieces that just felt like you would throw brain matter out the back of the head. So this was the practical piece that we used during that fight scene. And I actually I didn't sell, I just gave away the actual piece.
Yeah.
But let's go through. Can we go back to the beginning for a second? So first things first, I want to talk very, very briefly just about the opening shot.
Can I say something that as an outsider who've never seen the scene?
Yeah.
One thing that in my mind as an audience member sells it right off the bat is the steam and the burn, the surface burn.
Yeah.
Because you immediately know the stakes right there and then. And it sells what it is.
Yeah. Go back for 1 second. I want to talk about the throw to the wall, because especially for filmmakers that are making their own DIY movies, it's really, really important to just say when you're creating these, on this particular shot, JP, this is Paul James, the actor, and this is Steven Weber. PJ, when he is thrown against the wall, Steven grabs his neck and throws him against the wall. But you notice that that PJ grabs his hand.
He's doing the force, right?
He's doing everything. So PJ is throwing himself against the wall. There's no possibility of Steven accidentally, giving him a concussion. So that's really, really important if you're doing your own stunts. But let's go through. So you were right here. There was a little bit of steam on the lips just to sell the idea that the iron is hot and real.
Yeah.
And then we get another bit of steam right there. And hold for 1 second. So again, just like the push against the wall, PJ was the one that had the curling iron in his hand that was moving it. Now here, do you have so go back, and let's from right there, and let's just go frame by frame. Okay, so what's happening here frame by frame is we're loading up for the big hit. So we really wanted to sell that Steven was bringing it back and then pushing it forward. Back. So this shot was the shot we were just on. Go one more. This shot is the same shot. Go one more. That's a totally different shot. So what happened was the first 15 seconds of that was shot about an hour before this shot was done. And the reason why, obviously, is...
You want to change that? Let me guess. Is there not anything there, and you're gonna add that digitally, the thing?
No. So what we did was we took the curling iron. I keep saying tire iron, and we did a cut here. Actually, cut it off. We did a cut here. This part had a mouthpiece on it that Paul
Yeah.
could put in his mouth and hold. This part was then recreated by our makeup artist / special effects person. Her name is Kat Elrod. She's amazing. I've worked with her on a bunch of things. And what she does is she created this out of balsa wood.
Yeah.
And you put some blood on it to hide the fact that it's balsa wood, and it glues to the back of his head. So if you can I go here? So that's the earlier.
So
shot.
it's already on him there.
It's already on him. Actually, no. This shot was done and out before it even got on. So he loads up for bear, and then we cut this shot. He isn't even moving here. The movement is all based. So this entire thing is sold with just the movement of the camera. You're a quick pan to hide the cut. So, and then what we did, because this was a really, really low budget movie, we made the entire thing for under 700,000, I think. This is complete. The blood is all post. Wow. So I couldn't afford to repaint the wall.
Yeah.
So we just did, and then when you see that, that's all special effects post. I think we paid about $500 for that one shot. But it was worth it because we didn't have to repaint the house.
One of the things that I'm fascinated with in any sort of movie that deals with death or violence is that the older I get, the more tricks that I learn from the prosthetics people. I've started doing a lot of things called heal and reveals, which, I always say that I'm kind of anti-visual effects whenever possible. I think that when you're doing it on set and there's a practicality to it, it just looks better, and I think it gives more energy on set. But what I've done is, like, I did this movie with Lauren Levera coming out called Twisted. The movie is about a brain surgeon, and so we would have the practical cap on them and the brain underneath it, and then the visual effects would just heal the pre-cut in there because he had to take the skull off. So the visual effect is just cleaning it up. So when his scalpel goes in, he's exposing the real cut and the real blood. They're doing it all beforehand, which I think is really cool.
That's really, really cool.
So there's so many fascinating ways that you can.
But this is so cheap. I mean, this is basically the entire gag is sold with a whip hand. That's it.
Hiding edits in cuts and things. I think it's great.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep showing these and breaking down. So tonight we are going to the Residuals Tavern for the Christmas party.
I hope a whole bunch of people come.
I do. I hope you bring your toothbrush.
Oh, God, help me. All right.
I feel like there should be a call to action on the end of this thing because I just want to give Christmas gifts away. What other stuff do we have that we can give away? We just given away a set of the Blu-rays.
Now you just mentioned Lauren. We still have a couple of pieces from Lauren. I still have a signed Fangoria episode magazine.
So for a signed Lauren Levera Fangoria episode, in the comments, I want you to write a poem to Lauren. We are going to record Lauren reading the poems and picking her favorite one, and that will get the. I think
sounds good. I love it. Let's
all right, everyone. We are back next week for a mini episode until we remount completely on January 6th. All right, comment, like, subscribe, do all that other shit, and remember, failure is part of the process. Just look at these two guys. We're the definition of failure.
We'll see you guys tonight. Take care. Bye.